Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Monday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Alondra Villarreal, and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Mr. Hill, how was your weekend?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing. How was yours?
It's good. First Father's Day, which was good. If you saw my Twitter, I created Myers' first tears yesterday. He was eating a bottle, and I sneezed, and it terrified him. And I looked down, and the lips started quivering. He came off the bottle and just started crying. It was the first time he's cried tears, 6 months old. So for Father's Day, I, gave him the most terrifying moment of his entire life. But outside of that, it was good. I watched a lot of college baseball, watched a lot of golf, and enjoyed some off time. It was fun. Good weekend. We've got a ton to get to here on a Monday edition, Hunt and Hill. I want to look at some football recruiting and kind of where things stand in the world of college football recruiting. That'll be at the bottom of this hour. Have Jeremy's lead toss at 1 o'clock. And in the second hour, we will also talk a little bit about the U.S. Open as well as the College World Series. But we will start today with Jay Johnson, who was with the media for about 45 minutes on Friday. Glenn West is going to join us in 15 minutes to kind of recap what he heard from Jay Johnson, but I've listened to the entire press conference and found a couple of things noteworthy. He didn't go into like real details about a lot of things. He also did not get into the fact that two of his assistants have moved on because that announcement had not been made on Jason Kelly's side when he had met the media, so they didn't quite get to that. But he did have some interesting things to say, and we'll start with a bite from Jay Johnson talking about the Major League Draft. And I have been such a proponent of them moving the draft back to July because it used to be right on either Super Regional weekend or the first weekend of the College World Series. And you've got guys, whose lives are changing during the draft who are also playing the most important games they've ever played in. I didn't think it was fair to the players to have that be the case. So I thought it was great when they moved the draft back past the end of the season so that everybody could focus on the season when it was the time for the season and the draft when it was time for the draft. Jay feels a little differently.
I think the draft being late, I'll give you my opinion, is horrendous for us as coaches in college baseball. But, Major League Baseball, it's a business, and it's to drive money, and they feel like having the draft around the All-Star game, that's what they're going to do. So we have to adapt. We have a lot of balls in the air right now. Let's just call it what it is. You turn on the combine on MLB Network and there's an LSU recruit, running the 60 or talking on the set or all of that, is what it is, we'll see what happens with those guys. We've made strong pitches for why we think this is the right way, and you won't ever change my belief that it's better for a player to come do this. I think the thing that changes it sometimes for players is money, and some of those guys are going to get a lot of money and they're not going to be here. I think there's 4 that have no chance of showing up here next year based on the seasons they have and where they are, and it is what it is. I'm going to move forward to get us what we need. I'm not going to let any player, one player, current or hold our program hostage. I'm just not doing it. I wasn't hired for that, and we're going to be okay.
4 that have no chance to get here. But first, I want to go to the draft being horrendous. I guess it's just in terms of the roster management. He just wants more time on the back end of the summer to go out and explore the transfer portal, I guess. But I just thought it was always a good thing because guys now can finish their season and then worry about the draft. When he says there are 4 that have no chance to get here, I still got my handy-dandy sheet here that's been color-coded that I'll keep until the draft. Justin Crawford is one that has no chance. That's Carl's son out there from Bishop Gorman High School. He's got no chance to be here. I don't think Chase Shores has any chance of showing up. He's 6'6", 6'7", throws 100 miles an hour, and I think it's going to be off the board pretty quickly. Robbie Snelling, left-handed pitcher from out in Nevada, as well from Reno. He's up to 97 now and striking everybody out. He's just been unbelievable. And then Tucker Toman, the other one, I think, is a third baseman from South Carolina who is just a physical specimen and swings the bat with a lot of authority. But he hoped to get the rest of the guys. It's a funny time for Jay Johnson now, Jeremy, because he's out recruiting the guys he's already signed. That's the job at this time of the year, which is not something you see in football, but it's something that you see here. Now you've got them in the boat. You've beaten out all the other teams. Now you got to beat out the money. That's your issue.
Yeah. There's a lot going on for Coach Johnson right now. First off, you got to fill 2 huge spots in this coaching staff in the midst of all this recruiting that's going on and keeping your own guys. You got guys like Gervais who has the decision: does he go, does he stay, and then obviously recruiting high school kids who have big decisions to make. So it's a lot. It's a lot that has to happen in these next few months. Really get to change the fortune of your baseball team going into the next season. So these next few weeks are going to be vital for the program to see, how Coach Johnson can balance, find a way to get this coaching staff filled out, and then also being able to recruit at the level that he has. So it's like he said, you get the #1 recruiting class for a reason, but that means a lot of those guys probably have a chance to go play Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and so the question I get all the time is, how does this NIL stuff, like they could get NIL money, so they don't need to take the professional money? And I've kind of had the same answer, but when you listen to Jay Johnson speak to the possibilities with name, image, and likeness, he's right in lockstep with me. It just sounds a lot more official and better coming from him than it does somebody like me who doesn't know what they're talking about.
I'd like to see Alex get healthy. I'd like to see Hayden get healthy. I'd like to have a full fall to work with both of them, both defensively and offensively.
That was my bad. I chewed y'all to the wrong bite. I labeled them incorrectly on the sheet. So 100% host fault there. He's talking about the catchers, but if y'all can go to the other soundbite and then we'll get to it. He's talking about that's about the catchers, which I wanted to hear as well. But the name, image, and likeness stuff is the other bite. If we can get to that, y'all give me the thumbs up when we've got it, because it's a brave new world, so nobody knows for sure. But I think there's a real reason to believe that it will make an impact. I just don't know how much of an impact it'll make, because you've got these football guys that they've got such massive brand, so much name recognition that they can pull off of, because it's just such a more high profile sport. You can tell that this is not that. And so Jay, speaking about name, image, and likeness stuff, he echoes what I think.
17th pick in the 2020 draft for $2.75 million. I think that I don't see a $2.75 million NIL deal for any college baseball player. I do think there's a player on my team that loves being here, that loves playing here, that is so committed to our program that if you told him that he had an NIL deal for what his signing bonus would be, he would return to LSU. So I do think but we're not facilitating that. So that's I think it's to be determined as far as where we are in the NIL space and world. I feel very confident and very comfortable with what our school and athletic department have done. I think we're really progressive, and we have a fan base and a community that cares more about their college baseball team than any place in the world. So I think we're as well positioned as anybody to maximize that.
I do think LSU players have as passionate a fan base as anybody, an invested fan base as anybody, and so yeah, he is right from that perspective. I also totally agree that just like you're not going to compete with the Major League baseball operations the first 3 or 4 rounds of the draft with name, image, and likeness for college baseball. It's just those are millions of dollars. That's not happening around here. Yeah. But if you can talk about a guy who's turning down $120,000 or something, and there's something in the works that you could make that happen over a couple of years, maybe it changes that calculus. But it's still, I think, a long shot.
No, it's definitely never going to be the same, especially if you're going to be a top 20 pick in the Major League draft. I don't think there's going to be NIL matching that, and then I think maybe there's one-offs, but to say that's going to be the dynamic for the whole recruiting class, that's now you're talking a crazy amount of money. So I think what's realistic is kind of what he said. Maybe some of these deals that are caught around that 6-figure range, and kind of do that multi-year, that thing out, and then now you got some guys that could possibly think about going the college route rather than rushing themselves into the majors.
We'll go back now to that soundbite about the catcher spot, because I do think it is interesting. We know that there are going to be some players from this team that explore the transfer portal, and we know how important this draft is in terms of the roster makeup for this team. Jay went into detail about what he thinks of the catcher spot moving forward into next year.
I'd like to see Alex get healthy. I'd like to see Hayden get healthy. I'd like to have a full fall to work with both of them, both defensively and offensively. I'd really like Brady Neal and Jared Jones to come to college. And I think at that point you'd feel really good about it. where 3 of the 4 they're going to find at bats for themselves, and Alex just changes your pitching staff, and in terms of things he can do behind the plate. So I feel good about it. I think I've had great meetings with the other guys' families, and I had good meetings with those guys at the end of the year, and we'll see. But the pitchers that will be coming here and the pitchers that are returning should feel really good about how we'll defend at the catcher position.
Can you elaborate? It's just Milazzo just never got healthy this year, and Travinski gave him a little shot in the arm in the middle of the season, and really McManus carried it on the rest of the way at the end of the year and did a nice job offensively. Defensively, there were some significant lapses. But it sounds like the anticipation is going to be that Hayden Travinski and Alex Milazzo will be back at LSU next year, and then he mentioned the 2 recruits. I've got Brady Neal as a no-chance guy, got him in red on this list. I did see an interview with him that was done online. It was kind of a Skype deal, and he was talking about some of the other guys in the class and how he hoped everybody went to LSU. But the guy is an elite defensive player at a premier defensive position, and I just think he's going to end up making the jump. Jared Jones is also a really, really physical offensive catcher that is the best catcher in the state of Georgia and is a top 50 player by perfect game. So that's not a guy that you feel great about getting canvas. But if you could get one of those 2 guys and then have Milazzo, have Travinski back for another year, your catcher spot, as he said, is pretty healthy. But the question is, what if you don't? And then you may have to go to the transfer portal.
Yeah, that's definitely the best option, I think, right now, because I don't know, you're getting both these guys are 5 stars, really, really ranked high in their position. So I think if there's a world where you're going into the season with 2 catchers, I think you definitely have to go that route of the transfer portal. And I think, we've seen Coach Johnson do that, especially what he did with McManus last season.
He did, and McManus swung the bat great. And just you love to have that premier defensive guy back there. Neal is the most talented of this whole group of Travinski, Milazzo, and we know how big and powerful Travinski is, and we know Milazzo is such a good catcher and thrower, and Jones is a very physical catcher who can swing the bat a ton. But Neal's the most well-rounded package of the whole deal. I just don't think he's going to end up in Baton Rouge. So that's some sound from Jay Johnson. He was meeting with the media on Friday for about 45 minutes to kind of wrap things up. Glenn West of Go27 Sports was there. We'll talk to him next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
Talking a little baseball, the College World Series is going on, but football comes real quick. And if you want to get into the tailgating game, Revelry Tailgating is your one-stop shop. They do it all for you if you want them to. And Jeremy will tell you about that package they can put together for you.
Yeah, let me tell you guys about the standard package. It's full-service turnkey tailgating. They have 25 to 30 people in capacity. They have a 10 by 20 high-peak tent. They have 3 coolers with all-day ice service, electricity hookups, all-day concierge, bellhop service, all-day trash service, and they also do a post-tailgate cleanup.
It's luxury tailgating is what it is. If you don't want to get out there at 6 in the morning and unload everything and set everything up and make sure everything's assembled and worry about trash, you don't want to do all that, they will do it for you. And that is the beauty of this. They can do it for a season pass. They can pick one individual game for you. If you're a business that wants to entertain clients at a tailgate, you can do that. Or if you just want to have some friends and get together and find a spot, they can do it for you there as well. It's right outside Patrick F. Taylor Hall. They have a reserved space. It's 2 blocks from Tiger Stadium, perfect walking distance. And once again, you show up, everything's there, you leave, they clean it all up. It is as easy as that. Check out their packages and all their information at revelryteam.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Join 100.7 The Tiger and Our Lady of the Lake Ascension Saturday, June 25th at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center in Gonzales.
Enjoy live music from Ted Durr, Mike Broussard and the Night Train, and Jamie Badron and the Kickin' Cajuns. Make sure you grab a delicious plate of jambalaya from the Mike Ward's Liberty Safes Jambalaya Cook-Off to raise money for the Alzheimer's services of the capital area.
The Swamp Pop Music Festival with Supreme Chevrolet.
Louisiana's country station.
100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
Poor boy raised amid turn-of-the-century New Orleans, Louis Armstrong became one of the most recognizable people on earth. Visit dropbiscuit.com today and check out the trailer to our first original series, Pops, The Louis Armstrong Story, starring Reno Wilson. Subscribe today. This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Moving right along here on a Monday edition, Hunt and Hill. Hope your work week's getting off to a good start. We'll head out to the phone lines now. Glenn West, Go 247, joins us. Glenn, thanks for the time. How are you, man?
Hey, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It is our pleasure. Doing very well. Jay Johnson, about 45 minutes with y'all back on Friday. We went through a little bit of sound from it there, but was there anything that stood out to you in that 45-minute media session?
Yeah, so, I think Jay kind of made his feelings on what the draft has done, kind of being pushed back and how difficult it is for college baseball coaches. Very apparent. He's very has strong feelings about, the fact that it's going to be really tough on college coaches in terms of building out their rosters, and you certainly see it from that perspective. I mean, the draft's not going to be till mid-July, and you're kind of in wait-and-see mode with a lot of these guys that you're hoping to get on campus from the 2022 class, and obviously with some guys on the current roster that might be heading out, to the next level. So, it's been a really, I would say, strenuous last couple of weeks since their season ended. He kind of mentioned he'd been on the phone with guys pretty much 24/7 the last 2 weeks, and just trying to get a good gauge for how this thing's going to shake out and just what their contingency plans are for certain guys that may leave or certain freshmen that may decide to sign with their major league team.
Are you surprised Trey Morgan's going to play for Team USA after watching him hobble around for the last couple of months?
Yeah, so I mean, we've talked a lot with Jay about that, and he seemed very confident that Trey's knee is going to hold up, that it's good, that it's all better now, and he obviously, I don't think he would play if it wasn't close to 100%. So I do think that there's been some progress made with that knee. But it's a good question. I think that it's an opportunity for him to obviously show that he's one of the best premier players in the country. And if that knee injury is manageable, or if it's close to 100%, which is kind of what we sound, kind of what from what I've been hearing, it's pretty close to 100% now. So it's probably a really good opportunity for Trey to take this opportunity with Team USA and try to show what he's got out there.
Safe to say, Coach Jay Johnson is going to be pretty active in the transfer portal. What position do you think is going to really help this team for Coach Johnson to kind of really attack this summer?
Yeah, so I kind of come to two main ones. It's obviously pitching. You got the commitment from Dylan Seabrake, who's from Creighton. We got to see what happens with him in the draft as well, but would expect them to at least attack another couple of pitchers in this transfer portal cycle, and honestly infield too. I think you need a couple of infielders. Obviously losing Jacob Berry at third, Cade Doty at second. Those are two guys probably off the MLB, and obviously a number of their kind of backups and kind of depth on the roster have kind of entered the transfer portal in the last couple of weeks. Will Stafford was the latest one that went in today. So there's just a lot of depth issues I think right now in the infield that they're going to need to sort out, and I would expect Coach Johnson to certainly have a contingency plan for infielders in terms of just getting some quality depth on the roster, but they also really like some of these freshmen that are coming in, Gavin Guidry, Mikey Romero. They're hoping to get those two guys on campus, but obviously have to wait and see how the draft shakes out.
How big a deal is it losing Dan Fitzgerald and Jason Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, I think it puts a lot more onus on Coach Johnson here for the next several weeks, and it's kind of rough that you lose those guys right in the middle of what's kind of the most important part of your off season right now in terms of building a roster. Asked him about losing both of them. He had nothing to say but great things about both of those guys, and it's going to be difficult, to kind of try to build a roster here without those two coaching positions filled. I think a lot of players nowadays who are especially in the portal, they want to know who they're coming to play for, and so Coach Johnson kind of made it clear to us that it's going to be roster first, it's going to be players first, and then they're going to deal with the coaching decisions, but would probably not expect you to wait too long on making those decisions, with some of the guys that are going to be making those decisions on whether or not to come to school or to kind of head to the next level.
Glenn West, Go247, is our guest. Ty Floyd was a name that he brought up and said they got to get Ty through the draft. What's your outlook on Ty and what his future is?
Yeah, so I think that's a really important name to keep a close eye on. Obviously, Ty had some really solid outings, I think, towards the end of the season this year. Kind of showed some improvements, and maybe that's enticing enough for an MLB team to take a swing at him in the middle rounds. But certainly got to get him out of the draft. I don't have a great feel on whether or not he's going to be in that kind of 4, 5, 6 range. I think if he gets drafted anywhere in the first 10 rounds, it kind of gives you a good sense that he's probably off the major leagues, because obviously it's all about the number and about agreeing to the number with the MLB team. So Johnson was even telling us that last week that if he sees a guy go in the first 10 rounds, it's usually a good indication that he's not coming back to school. So Ty Floyd is certainly a name to keep an eye on. I think he'd be obviously a tremendous addition for next year's roster in terms of having a more stable, kind of pitcher return to this group, because that's a position group right now that's very much in flux, is very much not really knowing who's going to be around next year on the roster this time next year.
Two other guys who I think could really, really help this team next year are Cade Doty and Paul Gervais. Do you think Coach Johnson has any chance of getting those two guys to come back to town?
Gervais could be an interesting one, but I mean, Doty, I would expect Doty to go in the first handful of rounds. So I'm not, wouldn't hold your breath on Cade Doty returning. He's had a great career here, and I think he's probably off to the next stage in his career. But Gervais would be an interesting one for sure. I mean, he's a guy that was very consistent for them out of the bullpen this year. Guy who can, rock it up 94, 95 on the fastball, and has some length obviously to him, and I think that would be very interesting to kind of see where he could fall. I mean, he's a redshirt junior. He kind of been in college now for a while, and would he want to make that next step if a team calls on him? That would certainly be a conversation he'd have to have. So, I think it's going to be very interesting to see where he winds up. But another guy that you probably want to keep your eye on, too, is Gavin Dugas, obviously the senior. I think Jay kind of made it known that he wants, Gavin to be back with the team next year, and that will all depend on the draft and just kind of where Gavin falls, too.
I saw a report on Friday that Cade Beloso is very likely going to come back. What do you know that?
Yeah, so we kind of talked to Jay a little bit after, and he said he's pretty confident that that's where Cade's swinging in terms of leaning and coming back to the team next year, which would be a great addition. Obviously, a guy who had high expectations for this year in terms of really turning his game around, and then it got short before it even started. So I know LSU would like to have him back in the fold. He's a great leader, a great part of this program, and I think that's probably where he's leaning right now from what we've heard.
Is Glenn West, Go247 Sports. We appreciate some time, man.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
He is Glenn West over there. He was at Sports Illustrated, now on New Home over there at Go247. Yeah, I think, look, Floyd is interesting because he's got some real arm talent, but he's got leverage to come back, and he needs to develop. I mean, he can make himself some cash by coming back. That's always like the issue is, can you really improve your stock? Like I go back to like Tremont Waters, if with basketball at point guard, like he was never going to be 6'6". So like you are what you are. Go try to make it work. But if you are a guy that can clearly develop and become a better player, which Ty Floyd can by continuing to use some of the pitches that he used later in the season, I think there's all the reason in the world to come back and try to carve out a spot as a weekend rotation guy, depending on what this class is from a transfer portal perspective and from what they get out of this signing class. I'm not guaranteeing Ty Floyd anything in terms of a weekend rotation spot, but he can certainly get better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you watched him, the way he pitched at the beginning of the season last year to what he became at the end. It seems like a guy that can really, really, use another year, in this program to really, work on the stuff that he worked on all season, to get to be able to throw, those off-speed pitches in game action for strikes like you really have to be a weekend starter. So, when he's popping in 94, 95 with the fastballs, I think that's definitely a guy who I can think could use another year and really development.
Swamp Pop coming up this Saturday from noon to 9 over there at Lamar Dixon in Gonzales. We will be out there. If you want tickets to Swamp Pop, you can pick them up at 1045ESPN.com. Want to thank the presenting sponsor, which is Our Lady of the Lake Ascension, the Jambalaya Cook-Off sponsor, which is Mike Ward's Liberty Safes, and the presenting sponsor, Supreme Chevrolet. All the proceeds from the Jambalaya plate sales are going to go to Alzheimer's Services, so come hang out with us on Saturday, Swamp Pop at Lamar Dixon in Gonzales. We will be back. What are we talking about in the next segment? College football recruiting. Things are looking a little bit different, and I think there are a lot of people around here hammering the panic button. However, kind of look at the rest of the block, and the world is changing, and I'm not sure why, but I've got a thought on it. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time.
Jimmy Ott, Charles Handegriff, and Roscoe live for Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers at Rouge Creole in Perkins Road. Looking at the first weekend of College World Series and all kinds of other stuff as well. We'll talk some football as well. Game Time, presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday from Rouge on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Thanks to Glenn West, Go 247 of jumping aboard, talking a little baseball there. Nice to still be talking about LSU baseball here in June, but I wish they were playing. They are not. The College World Series cranking back up here in 30 minutes. Elimination game about to get underway. We'll talk about the All-SEC game tonight between Ole Miss and Arkansas in the second hour. But I want to talk college football recruiting here. LSU obviously had their big camp, their elite camp over the weekend, and talked to Billy Embody last week about it, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit more in the coming days. But I think there are a lot of people very concerned that LSU sits here right now with 5 commitments. And you look at the top 10 in the state, and you don't think you're going to get Arch Manning, and Eli Holstein's going elsewhere, and you feel like probably not going to get Jaden Ausberry, and then Tackett Curtis, that doesn't sound good either. You're like, oh my God, what is the problem here? And I'm not here to tell you that LSU's in great shape for recruiting, or that everything's going to be fine, or that Brian Kelly's going to do an awesome job. I don't know any of that. I have my thoughts that LSU is going to recruit very, very well under Brian Kelly. But right now at 5 commitments, people are kind of I'm looking at the calendar we need to do a little bit better than this. And so I started to dive into national recruiting stuff, which I don't do a lot of until signing day, quite honestly, because who knows what's going to happen. But here's the deal nationally. I mean, the number 2 class in the country is Texas Tech. Cincinnati's got the 5th-ranked class. Northwestern has the 6th-ranked class. And if you look around at the number of commitments in each class, all of a sudden LSU's numbers don't look as bad with only 5, because there are lots of teams that don't have very many. USC's got 9. They're supposed to recruit at a pretty high level. Texas has 7. Figure they recruit at a pretty high level. Oklahoma's got 8. Michigan's got 7. Miami's got 7. Florida State's got 8. Of course, LSU's got 5. A&M's got 5. Moneybags himself over there. Florida's got 6. Bama has 4. Ole Miss has 5. Why? Why is it so much slower than it used to be? I have my thoughts. Do you have any sort of, anything behind that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of things have happened extremely quickly, especially for the landscape of college football. And I think for one, leveling out the scholarships where you don't have to have 25 high school guys. Now there's not an emphasis on, hey, we got to get all these kids signed. Now you can kind of balance it out. Now there's, more than, 5 official visits. So now you can, take a lot more official visits. And so there's not that rush. I think there's a lot of things that's kind of going on with this whole thing. And now with this, legal bidding war, I guess that should be said, with NIL, now there's no rush to, go to this particular school and you can kind of see what's all out there. You're the freest free agent you'll ever be when you're, that last year in high school. So I think guys are kind of, taking their time and kind of seeing what's out there before they kind of jump and commit to one school.
My thoughts are generally similar to that. It's like every situation is unique, and so you can't paint with a total broad brush here. There are a lot of things that have changed in the world of recruiting, whether it's name, image, and likeness, like you mentioned. And why would I commit somewhere while when I'm uncommitted, they've got to jack up the price for me? Like, that's one thought. Now, this is not the first time high school recruits have gotten some cash to go play somewhere. So it's not a total change, but a little bit of a change. You can move around. As you mentioned, like, people are going to the transfer portal to fill their roster. So are they offering less high school kids? Because we don't have to load them all up. I can go get 14 high school kids and go get 12 portal guys if I want to. Like, that's legal, and you're able to do that. Is it a situation where, there's so much that can be said for it. It's just the fact of the matter is that it has slowed down. There's just none of these teams are way out in front of this deal. The reason Texas Tech's the second-ranked class in the country is because they have 20 commitments. The reason Northwestern is the 6th-ranked class in the country because they have 18 commitments. Now, 16 of them are 3-stars. That's the way they're going to roll up there. But I wonder if one of these things is becoming more prevalent than others. Like, are schools actively slowing down their offer process, or are players actively slowing down their commitment process because they want to get to the NIL bidding war and explore those opportunities? My gut tells me it's probably some of both, but it's happening because I'm looking at it.
Yeah. I mean, you talk to, we listened to Coach Polian last week, and it's like a two-edged sword, especially with the high school kids, because, you wait too long now, and you know how the coaching trees change, and you different coaches, different spots. Now, a lot of these kids are not going to have, scholarships when, once National Signing Day comes around. It's already at 500 now of kids that didn't sign last year based on the year before. So what is that number going to get to? Or you're already seeing the numbers are really down across commits across the country. So, I mean, this NIL thing, I don't think anyone can kind of predict how it goes. I think we're kind of seeing it as it plays out in front of us. But it's really crazy to see, 5 at this time will really, make you really be panicked. But when you kind of look around, it's really not that as bad as you may have thought it was.
How many high school kids do you think LSU will sign most years? Just spitballing.
I think I say 20 to 22.
And that's what Billy said like 22, he thinks. And it makes sense. You would rather build your roster with high school players that come in that you can develop for 3 or 4 years, that understand the program, that have been around. It's not new. They're raised in the same culture, and that is the preference. But the reality is that you've got to plug some holes with the transfer portal. Jay Johnson talked about this on Friday, saying, like, I really like and would rather build it with high school kids and have them in the program for 3 years so that they understand and we can develop them the way that we want to develop them. But we do now have an avenue here, and really it's just going to be indicative of what happens in the Major League Draft. Whatever happens in the draft, that's now I got to go and fill the gaps. And I guess by the same token with football, it's what happens in the transfer portal, how many guys leave, how many do I need to backfill with them. But I think there are probably going to be some, because LSU gets safer bets on high school players. If you sign a bunch of 4 and 5 stars, they're more likely to become really good college players. If you sign a bunch of 3 stars and 2 stars, like if you're Northwestern, there's a higher probability that those guys can't play at this level. There are plenty of great 2 stars and plenty of awful 5 stars. Like, we all know that. We don't have to get into that back and forth. But I think for LSU, you can buy enough lottery tickets that it's going to work out. Maybe Purdue and Cal are going to sign less high school kids and just go pluck the transfer portal kids that they can from a lower level because it's safer. But I think LSU is still going to be very, very heavily involved in the high school market. That's just maybe that's wrong, but it's just the way that I see it.
No, I think too, especially when you name all the other schools that are in that single-digit ballpark of commits right now, is that LSU happens to be the only one that's a real Power 5 school in its own state, and so you have that under your belt. So you would want to say that you can hold your state down, especially get the top-end, high-end recruits, which we don't have right now. You kind of look at that top 10. A lot of guys not committed to LSU. So if you can find a way to just get half of those guys, it puts you in a really, really great spot going to each, calendar year recruiting. So this year will be another huge year for this recruiting staff if they can put together, a year where they're getting, 5 out of those guys out of that top 10 in your state. It makes high school recruiting very, very important.
When I bring up a topic and bring up my argument, I always try to look at the other side. And that, when I'm saying that LSU should rely more heavily on high school players than most, I can also hear the other side of the argument because, but you can also cherry pick the best transfer portal guys that want to come play at a place like LSU. And in this class, it was more Louisiana guys, but, look what Alabama's doing. They went and got a stud wide receiver from Georgia, number 1 corner in the country from LSU. Got Georgia Tech's former 5-star running back. Like that, they went and got, I think, Vanderbilt or Kentucky's best offensive lineman. It's that side of it also exists, but I think big picture, I think LSU will lean more heavily on high school kids than transfer portal, is what I think.
Yeah. I mean, you got the backyard. I think that's why Coach Kelly came and took this job. You don't really have to go far. You don't have to, get on the private jet to go recruit. You can get in the car and go down the street and recruit. And I think if LSU can use that to his advantage and really, use some of these top men, nationally ranked players that are right in your backyard, it's definitely going to keep you in that high school range and, continue to go after some of the high school recruits.
All right, we spent this entire segment me kind of saying everybody else is struggling too. Don't panic about LSU's recruiting. Are you concerned? They only have 5 commitments to this point, and it looks like of the top 10 in Louisiana, there are 4, 5, 6 of them that you're not going to get.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I think there's so many different reasons, like we just said before. With a lot of these guys are going to commit to places, and they're not going to be so happy with what happens with the transfer portal being around. You can't take it too really serious. Really, what happens in that first year, and I think right now, so much time between now and the first signing day, and then obviously you got a whole nother national signing day. Let's see kind of how we fare then, and then I'll see if I need to panic yet or not.
It's the hardest thing to do in recruiting is to be patient and evaluate. We just want it. We want immediate gratification. How many stars? What's the ranking like? Where does it compare to Alabama? What's A&M doing? There's so much knee-jerk reaction and competitiveness and what feels like objective fact in recruiting when it's not objective fact. It's very much a subjective process in terms of the player ratings and all that kind of stuff. Look, Brian Kelly put together really good classes in Notre Dame. He did so by going all over the country and making his pitch. And I think he's going to put together good classes in Baton Rouge. He's got a staff that has some really good recruiters on it. He's got a staff that's got some local ties. Until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to believe that Brian Kelly is going to assemble a really strong roster. I'm a little bit concerned's not the right word. Like, I'm aware that they only have 5 commitments for this class. How's that? Like, I'm not totally oblivious to that fact, but I'm not ready to hammer a panic button anytime soon. They've still got some time. I was hoping some more news would come out of camp, just 1 commitment for next year's class. Hoping for some more in the coming weeks as they get some guys on campus. As we talked about last week, like, this is the first crop that's really had the ability their last year to do this thing right and to go to camps and to make official visits and to see games with full stadiums as opposed to that 2-year gap we had where the world stopped and it was a dead period the whole time, and you're making basically high school kids make their next decision on Zoom calls and text messages. Like, that's not the case anymore. So I'm aware that things are not perfect on the recruiting front, but I do trust that things will get straightened out and that they will sign a very, very good class. When we come back, SEC Media Days is next month, and I think we're getting very close to announcement of what players will be going from LSU. Now that I don't cover the team every day, I don't know the players as well as to who would be kind of suited to go over there. But we'll have a conversation who we think LSU sends to SEC Media Day. We'll do that next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
This baseball season, swing for the fences on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code 1045ESPN to get in on the action. FanDuel lets you bet the money line, home run props, strikeout totals, and so much more. Plus, you can combine your bets for an even bigger payday with same game parlay.
Look, I make fun of the Cubs every day in this live read. I'll do it again today because they deserve it. They play the Pirates. The Pirates are terrible. The Cubs are favored over the Pirates, which is ridiculous. I would bet the Pirates. And to hit a home run, I'd bet Dan Vogelbach. That's a guy that the Cubs drafted. They traded him away because Anthony Rizzo was there. Probably going to be a little cranky about it. Plus 460. Bet Vogelbach to hit it into the Allegheny River there in Pittsburgh. Build out same game parlay. You can make some serious cash with FanDuel. Join with the promo code 1045ESPN. Turn a $5 bet into $200 in free bets, win or lose, exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues and non-withdrawable free bet that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal.
On Tuesdays, OTB. The boys are bringing you the latest from Omaha, while also engaging in some general fun, interesting preseason football talk. Plus, Nick Underhill stops by off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Citizens Bank brings you the poll question each and every day. Our poll question today from via Citizens Bank. Are you currently concerned with LSU's football recruiting class? Just yes or no. We'll see how people are feeling at the end of the show. SEC Media Day is coming at you in about a month from Atlanta, not in Hoover this year. It'll be over in the ATL. And I think the announcement should be coming fairly soon as to who LSU is sending to SEC Media Days. And you were a player. Was that something that y'all paid attention to, that y'all knew was coming up? I'm assuming y'all don't even know SEC Media Days existed.
No, we didn't really pay too much attention to it. And I think kind of when you got picked for it, it's kind of an honor, definitely, because it meant you were one of the leaders, one of the captains on the team. But it wasn't something we were talking about, like really prepping for anything like that.
I mean, once you do get picked, they got to go through a bunch of preps so you can make sure that you don't say anything once you get there. That's kind of the point. But I was curious what you think might be some guys that get picked. They send 3 players. I think what's interesting with LSU, can't really send a quarterback because we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. So do you think Miles Brennan can be sent? He's been at LSU for 47 years, but usually don't send a guy that potentially is the backup quarterback to Media Days.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's a guy that they definitely would send. I mean, he's not going to go up there and say anything out of box or out of character or anything like that. And I think he's been there, done a world of experience for the college level. So you don't think Alabama would be too much for him to handle.
I mean, the most high-profile player on the team is Kayshawn. He's also very understated and quiet. He was not a guy that made a big hoopla in recruiting. Hasn't been a guy, even though he was setting records as a freshman, that did a lot of talking. I mean, do you think that they will send him based on his playing ability, even though he's not a guy who wants to spend a bunch of time on camera?
I could see it, but I probably would say I think they probably send Jure before they would send Kayshawn, but being a little older in the room, being a guy that they really are very, very high on, and a senior guy on the team.
What about Jack Besh? He's been on with us a few times and I didn't have any issue with it. I mean, he's a guy who does a lot of media.
Yeah. I think as far as being prepared, especially a guy who's, if you're looking at the talent level and just what they can do in front of a microphone and the moment not being too big for him, I think Jack would do extremely well in a media day type situation. And that'd probably be a guy, if I were the LSU committee, I'd probably pick Jack to go up there and do it.
Michael Baskerville on the defensive side is the guys. I mean, I can't keep up with how long these guys have been here. It's one day I will catch up. I think we're like 2 years away from me knowing for sure how old everyone is. I think he's been at LSU 5 years. Been there 4. This will be his 5th is my thought, but I can't swear to it. But he's been there a long time. Would you think that he would be a guy that they might send?
In that linebacker room, I'd probably go with Mike Jones Jr. He's to me, he's really good in front of a microphone, and I think being a guy that has that transfer portal story and coming to Baton Rouge, I think that's a guy that I think would probably, as far as the linebacker room go, I'd probably pick to go and represent them.
Jaquelin Roy has been a 2-year guy for LSU. He was a big-time starter last year. I think that's a guy that has a chance. John Emery coming back for his 4th year. I think that he's got an interesting story and has been at LSU a long time. Either one of those guys strike you? Yeah,
I could definitely see Emery being a guy who's been here for the full 4 and, been through everything in this program, been on the national championship team and, been a guy that's really been depended on and really kind of, not been able to be there for his teammates and still find ways to help on the practice squad. So he's done it all at the college level, and now he's going to get another opportunity to, really kind of show that 5-star back that he can be. So, I would love to see, a guy like that up there and represent LSU.
All right, if I made you pick 3, go ahead and just give me 3 names.
I would probably go Jack Besh. I would go Mike Jones Jr. And I would go Miles Brennan.
Yeah, that's good. That's the quarterback thing is fascinating because that's all he's going to get. Now, he's perfectly capable of answering the question. He's going to get it 40 times, who's going to be the starter, and he's go, well, we're all really talented guys. We love going to work today, eat with each other. We love competing, and everybody had a great spring, and everybody's in great shape right now. And we're out there throwing, like, he'll answer the cliche, and drop it all over the place. But I think Besh. I love your Mike Jones Jr. pick. That's not even one that I considered, but I've heard him do interviews and think that that's a guy who they could very, very easily send. I don't think on the offensive line, I don't think there's much there. Kayshawn's the most high-profile guy, but if you've already sent Jack, like, I'll go Kayshawn, Jack, and Mike Jones Jr. would be my three picks. But the Brennan thing's interesting. I mean, it is. Again, that's a guy you wouldn't have to worry about saying anything dumb, and he's been here a long time. But man, you look at it, you're right in the middle of a quarterback controversy, and that's usually they don't send guys who are in the middle of a position controversy. But we shall see. Hour number 1 in the books. We started things off as Jay Johnson sound. We talked some baseball with Glenn West, some football recruiting. Just chatted about SEC Media Days as well. If you want to get that on demand, 1045ESPN.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you find your on-demand video audio. Coming up in hour 2, U.S. Open thoughts, College World Series thoughts. But first, we will give it to Jeremy with the lead toss. We're about to get cranked up from Omaha. Come back with us. Hour 2 coming at you of Hunt and Hill.
1045 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to front-to-backboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hunt and Hill. Tom Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Auburn and Stanford will battle for their College World Series lives here in about 5 minutes from Omaha. We'll talk College World Series coming up in about half an hour, but it is the first portion of hour number 2. That means it's time for the lead toss.
The lead toss.
Hands off to Hill. Hill trying to go to the outside, turns it upfield, and he breaks it into the clear. He's down to the 10. He's still going. Touchdown, Jeremy Hill.
The lead toss to Jeremy Hill.
Hill to the 20. Hill to the 10. The MVP is in the end zone for LSU. Touchdown, Tigers.
Here's the lead toss to Jeremy Hill.
So we're all familiar with Les Miles offenses, and sometimes in this lead toss world, you get a lead toss and you got to toss it back. So today I'm going to be tossing it back to the Bayou for chat. I'm going to be tossing it back to Hunt Palmer, and I'm going to be trying to find out, is the College World Series worth putting on the handy-dandy bucket list? And for myself, my only experience with college baseball has been at Alex Box. I've never been to Duty Noble. I've never been anywhere else. And I'm kind of trying to, expand my horizons here a little bit. And so today I want to talk about, Omaha, Nebraska. I want to talk about the College World Series, Charles Hopfield. I want to talk about it all. So my buddy Hunt over here, he's had a chance to go there. So maybe you give a little backdrop of your experience with Omaha and how'd you enjoy that whole time?
No, I can. I mean, it is absolutely on the bucket list. Omaha embraces this tournament just incredibly well. It's one of the only sporting events that you reference it by the city it's played in. I mean, if you say I'm going to Omaha, they know what you're talking about. I think Augusta, in the same, even though that's the name of the club, carries kind of the same weight. Maybe Williamsport with the Little League World Series, but going to Omaha, that's the deal. And they just embrace it so much. They love that you're there. They're very welcoming. I can tell you, I mean, the first time I went in 2009, it was still at Rosenblatt, and we went and first of all we went to the grocery store, and I said, "Where are y'all's ice chests?" And the guy looked at me like, "Huh?" I was like, "Y'all's ice chests." He goes, "What do you?" I said, "You put like beer in it and ice it down." He goes, "Oh, your coolers." I was like, yeah. What are the coolers? We got a styrofoam cooler. We had to park in a neighborhood, which we did, and we were walking to get in line, and the styrofoam ice chest exploded. Just ice everywhere, beers everywhere, and a lady came off her porch with a spare ice chest that she gave us for the day. I mean, they want you to have a great time, and if you're in purple and gold, they always treat you really, really good because they like the Tigers up there in Omaha. It's I can tell stories for days about Omaha, Nebraska.
All right, so let's go down the checklist here. I got a little handy-dandy checklist here of things I'm looking for. Atmosphere is number one for me, so I got to hear about that. So once a game gets started off, you hear that first pitch. What's the atmosphere like in Omaha for a baseball game there?
So it kind of depends the weather, the team that's there. If you've got Vanderbilt and Cal State Fullerton, like they don't have any fans, so it's not that great. You got Mississippi State or Ole Miss or LSU, Arkansas, A&M, Texas, like that cranks it up. And everyone loved Rosenblatt. It was up on the hill. It was, it had a lot of nostalgia to it. And a lot of people were sour on the new ballpark. It was TD Ameritrade, now Charles Schwab. I went in 2013 to Charles Schwab, and I thought it was nice. The press box was incredible, which nobody cares about. But I thought the stadium downtown, was very accessible. There's a lot going on around the stadium, and I thought the environment was really good. I saw LSU play 2 games. They played UCLA and North Carolina, and they lost both games, but I think it's really good. There's a lot of kids that show up. If you get the night games or the weekend games, you get a ton of juice and energy. I could honestly do without the beach balls in the outfield that get beat all over the place and knock onto the playing field. Like, that's not my favorite thing in the world, but I think it's good. Like, I think there are some people who, it's a little bit sterile, but I mean, if you look at this picture right here from that we've got up here, I mean, it's a packed house. It's fun in there. I mean, it's not like the Astros Stadium when we go over there for a minute for the Shriners tournament, where you've got 10,000 people in a 40,000 seat stadium. No, they built it to a size where you can fill it, and they do fill it a lot. I think it's a really good environment.
Okay, well, you've got to check that off. We checked the atmosphere off. Sounds like a check to me. So, of course, I heard you talk about your visit to Southern Miss and some of the other places out here. We got to talk about concessions. We got to talk about food. We got to talk about what we're getting into. How's the food? How's the concessions? How's everything that way?
So I was in the press box, so I can't totally go there, but I can tell you that the steakhouses in Omaha are awesome. I went to 2 of them while we were up there. The Drover was excellent, and the thing about the steakhouses up there, and this, I like to dress up a little bit to go out to eat. I don't do it very often, but when we do decide to do that, I enjoy it. The steakhouses in, like, you think of a steakhouse, you think of like Manhattan, Chicago, upscale, fine dining, that kind of deal. In Omaha, while they do have that, they have a lot of steakhouses that are just like, come in your jeans and hat and eat a big piece of meat. And there's certainly a market for that too. And that's what the Drover is like. They got great food, and it's really, really casual. And that's awesome in the city. The good thing about the new stadium is that, like I said, it's downtown. So there are bars and restaurants and hotels all around the stadium. It's the Blatt, and there's a few others, and that's really good. Rosenblatt, while it was awesome, was like kind of outside a neighborhood and right next to the zoo. I mean, Zesto's was there, but like there's not a lot. You had parked in a neighborhood. It was like there's not a lot to do right around. Omaha, I mean, now there is. So in terms of your ability to get some good food, you can definitely do that up there.
All right, so we got the atmosphere checked off. We got a full stomach. So now you're going to need something to do after all of this. And according to Visit Nebraska, Omaha's nightlife is full of chalk and full of entertainment. So I said I would leave it up to you to decide this. How's the nightlife if we're after the game? What are we getting into?
So we have an advantage as LSU fans, and most people know this, but I mentioned all the bars that are around the stadium, and that's great, and they're full. We have our own bar. We go to Barrett's. As far as I know, no one else has this figured out, but because LSU went every year in the 90s, go to Leavenworth Street and check out Barrett's. And Barrett's has a couple of levels. It's got an outdoor volleyball court that I made a fool of myself on in 2013. But they play LSU music. Everybody's there. The teams have been known to go there after wins and championships. It is awesome to go to Barrett's. There's nothing super special about it, and it's off the beaten path. And I was flying to Omaha in 2013. It was my second time to go there. And the guy I was sitting next to was from Omaha. I said, have you ever heard of Barrett's Barley Corn? He goes, no. Because, well, I don't think anyone in Omaha is, because I don't think it's that popular. But we do all right when we go up there, and Barrett's makes its year if LSU can make the College World Series and stick around for a couple of weeks. I have seen at this bar this year, there's a Jell-O shot competition going on. And every time you buy a Jell-O shot, you get a tally mark by your team. Or they change, let me see if I can find it on Twitter. And they're kind of running a College World Series long challenge for these teams. It's at Rocco's, the Rocco's Jell-O shot, and I can't find an updated one, but Arkansas is beating the brakes off everybody, and Stanford has like nothing. It's pathetic. So it's genius to create competition between the fan bases. That's what they've done at this Rocco's place, and it seems like Arkansas is doing well. Look, is Omaha Vegas? No, it is not. Can you have a great time up there? You absolutely can.
Oh, yeah, look, well, that's awesome, too. And I think, if you're going to go to Omaha, there's got to bring the family in. And according to, Wild Safari Park, they have the #2 zoo in the country. Like, are we going to put the Omaha Zoo up there? Have you been to the zoo? Have you seen the zoo?
Seen the zoo. It was across the street from Rosenblatt, so we saw it. If you remember at Rosenblatt, it had that big, like, glass ceiling that looked like a dome back up. Not glass, but it looked like a dome. That was the zoo right back there. I've never been to the zoo. But I think the players, when they have some days off, sometimes they go to the zoo. That's why I was asking Ryan Shemp last week. I was like, do you ever get bored if you're up there for 2 weeks? Like, half the time you don't have a game. And then, I mean, that week LSU was off 3 straight days because they won the first 2 games. So I've never been to the zoo, but I think it's probably fine. And then certainly if you got kids up there, it's worth a spin.
Well, look, I think this exercise, I think, Omaha's won me over. It looks like, hopefully the Tigers are in town so we can go to Bears, so we can get the full experience. But I definitely have to check out Omaha because it sounds like a really, really great time.
Well, we used to go every other year. And there was everybody knew that when Mason Katz and Ray Frimes in 2013 hadn't been to Omaha and they'd been at LSU for 3 and 4 years, they were going to be the first guys to finish out 4 years of playing baseball at LSU and never going to Omaha since the mid-'80s. And they, of course, beat Oklahoma in the Super in 2013 and got to go to Omaha. But LSU hadn't been back since they lost in 2017. My dad has never been and said after 2017, he's like, all right, next time they go, you and me, we're just going to book flights then and we'll head. And then they have not been since. Did not go in 18. We're not a great team in 18 by any stretch. Lost in a Super in 19, 20 got canceled. And then last couple of years they've fallen short. So, yeah, it's a great trip. The issue with it is you've got to decide. For most people aren't in position to take 2 weeks off of work. Like that's not. And even with taking 2 weeks off of work, spending the money to be there for 2 weeks, 2 weeks in a hotel, like most people can't do that and won't do that. So the question is, do you go for the first weekend where you're guaranteed to see 2 games, or do you wait and hope your team makes it to the next weekend so you can go watch them try to play for a championship on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? That's the issue with the College World Series. I've only gone for the first weekend. Now, I was packed to stay for the whole 2 weeks when I was writing in 2013, and that was one of the better leads I ever wrote for a column. I was writing the wrap-up of that College World Series, and LSU was so good in 2013. Nola was just unhittable. Katz, Rhymes, Bregman, Jacoby Jones, Laird, Stevens. I mean, it was a great team. And they went up there and went 0-2. And for my column to wrap up the College World Series, I started with the lead. I overpacked. Like, that was my whole league, because I had 14 polo shirts up there that we were gonna wear for 2 weeks, and I stuffed them all back in and hit the road and flew back home for the summer. But it is a lot of fun. I think there are a lot of our listeners that have made the trip up there maybe multiple times. But if you haven't, next time LSU goes, it's just a blast. Everybody's in a great mood. The city of Omaha puts on a show. They know how to do this. And I know a lot of people don't like the new stadium because it doesn't have the nostalgia, and there is a AAA feel to it. And I get all that. But it's nice, and it's downtown, and it's close to hotels and restaurants, and they fill it for a lot of games. So I'm pro the new stadium now that it's not playing ridiculously huge like it did at once upon a time. I think it works, and so I'm pro the new stadium. So Omaha, we can make it happen. We'll get Gordy on the horn next year when LSU makes it to Omaha, and we'll get Hunting Hill on the road for a couple of days. We'll try to make that work.
There we go. I'm not complaining about that at all.
All right, let's come back and do a little bit of chatter on the U.S. Open. It was a really, really good one. We'll give our thoughts on it next on Hunting Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
In the market for a vehicle, Bayou Ford is your friend. Whether it's the F-150, the Explorer, Expedition, you want the new Bronco, which a buddy of mine's been driving around town, they are very, very nice, and Bayou Ford can help you with that. And just because the exact one you want isn't on the lot doesn't mean they can't get it for you. In fact, they can, and they will. 75% of the customers at Bayou Ford customize their vehicles. 50% of them never set foot on the lot. So don't have time to spend a day on the lot. Check it. That's not the way car sales are done all the time anymore. You can go online and make it work, and Bayou Ford's happy to help. Plus, they got some great deals.
Yeah, they got an awesome special going on 2 vehicles. The first being all new 2021 Ford F-150 trucks. They're getting $10,000 off MSRP. And also all new 2022 Ford Edge SUVs. They're getting $4,000 off MSRP.
Call Ben Gagne down there at Bayou Ford and say, I heard y'all have $10,000 off MSRP on F-150s. Hunt and Hill told me that. They'll set you up with it. They can make it happen. They've also got that AC check I've been telling you about. It's good for another week till the end of June. $29.99 to get that air conditioner checked out. You just can't have your AC go kaput here in the summer in South Louisiana. That's no bueno. So make sure you check them out at BayouFord.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital.
5 ESPN and Guarantee Media bring you Drop Biscuit Studios. It's a southern home for storytellers. Visit dropbiscuit.com today and check out the trailer to our first original series, Pops, the Louis Armstrong story, starring Reno Wilson. Subscribe today. This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Matthew Fitzpatrick, United States Open champion. I'll tell you one of my biggest takeaways from the U.S. Open, Jeremy. Boston, on TV a lot, Red Sox playing all summer. How is it 50 degrees in the middle of June in Boston? I know it's like that at Pebble Beach in the Monterey Peninsula, but like they have plenty of summer in the Midwest, in the Northeast. Like, how is it 50 degrees in Boston?
Look, I can tell you now, we're in the middle of OTAs. It's probably the second month of it. It's May, and you look up and you see snow coming down in the middle of May, and it's like, I'm a kid from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it still puzzles me to this day. So yeah, that freeze is a different type of freeze in Boston. So
Matthew Fitzpatrick wins it. He was nails and has been awesome all year long. It's really an impressive story of Matthew Fitzpatrick, who was always a really good player, won the U.S. Amateur at the Country Club in Brookline, but was a very short hitter by modern standards, and realized like he had everything except he wasn't hitting it far enough. So he got in, did speed training, and has created a ton of club head speed, and now hits the ball a lot further. And he's able to do some things that he was never able to do. He drove the ball onto the green on the par 4 fifth. He was the only player in the field to do that on Sunday. Made it an easy tap-in birdie. Made a long birdie putt on 13. And then on 15 was probably the hole that helped decide it. He was way right, but he was so far right off the tee that he was in the trampled down grass area and was able to get a 5-iron on it from 220. He hit a brilliant 5-iron in there to 20 feet and made the putt for birdie. Zalatoris was just right of that fairway and couldn't get a club head on it as well. He dumped it in the bunker, made a bogey 2-shot swing. That was a monster spot. But Scotty Scheffler, who's been the best player in the world this year, was lurking, and he had a great look on 18 to make a birdie to get to 6 under, but he just missed it. Then, amazingly, Matthew Fitzpatrick hits it in the fairway bunker on 18, and I thought a great story was told by Billy Foster. Well, not a story, but a reaction. His caddy. Now, Billy Foster, if you did not see the story, has been on the bag for 40 years. He caddied for Seve Ballesteros, Lee Westwood, Darren Clark, Thomas Bjorn, Sergio Garcia, even was on Tiger's bag for a very brief time and had never won a major. So they get to the 18th hole. They got a 1-shot lead, and basically the only thing you can't do, Paul Azinger said it on the telecast, was you just can't hit it in the fairway bunker left. And Fitzpatrick gets up there with a 3-wood and snap hooks it into the fairway bunker. And we had just seen John Rahm yesterday, or the day before, Saturday, make double from there on 18. And so he gets into the fairway bunker, and it doesn't look great. And Billy Foster's telling the story that he sees him hook it into the bunker, and he just thinks, oh, my God, it's going to happen again. Like Westwood's lost a major in a playoff. You know, he's been on the bag with Sergio, some of the best golf of his life, and never won a major with Sergio. And he's thinking this is his chance, and it's going to get away. And they get into the bunker, and Fitzpatrick hits 9-iron out of that bunker, and it was just brilliant. I mean, right to the middle of the green. But right on top of that, Zalatoris pumps it in there to 15, 18 feet and has a chance to tie with a birdie, and it just burns the edge. For me, Zalatoris has got to be losing sleep at this point. He finished solo second in the Masters last year. This year, he lost to Justin Thomas in a playoff at the PGA and missed a playoff by an inch. I mean, it's so hard to win these things, and Zalatoris is playing as good a golf as anybody on tour. In the majors this year, he's been the best and doesn't have a win to show for it.
Yeah, it's tough, and that's why, like you said, these tournaments are so hard to win. You look at some of those leaderboards early on Thursday, and then you look at them late Sunday. It's nothing like it did look before, and that's why it's so tough, and that's why, you kind of see the things like LIV, become so big because it's so hard to make money when you're constantly finishing outside the top 10. So, yeah, you kind of feel bad for Zalatoris, man. You let one really, really slip away in this one.
I mean, he had just seen the putt, which is, that's a huge break for him. He just got to see it, and he still played a little bit too much break. There was a point on Saturday where I looked up at the leaderboard. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got Matt Fitzpatrick, who was in the last group of the PGA last month. You got Scotty Scheffler, who won the Masters and is the #1 player in the world. You got Zalatoris, who's ball striking like crazy. Colin Morikawa was in the last group. Rory McIlroy was lurking. You had Keegan Bradley, who's from New England, from Vermont, and is a big Boston fan. You had John Rahm right there in the mix. Xander Schauffele was right there in the mix. I mean, it was a ridiculous leaderboard, and that's exactly what you want. And basically 3 guys separated. Rory couldn't get it out of neutral. Keegan put it in reverse big time. Rahm couldn't get it going either, and so it essentially became down to Fitzpatrick, Scheffler, and Zalatoris, who were 3 of the best players in the world. Sam Burns, unfortunately, kind of hit the eject button on Sunday and didn't play very well in his pairing with Rory. But it was just tremendous golf to watch, and I'm disappointed in the outcome, quite frankly, because I don't pull for the European guys because of the Ryder Cup. But Fitzpatrick is such an odd character because he chips cross-handed, which is bananas. He has braces, which not a lot of adults with braces. That's not something you see a ton. He's super technical to the point where he's got a spreadsheet for every single competition golf shot he's ever hit as a pro. And he can go back and he runs the numbers on them, and he can tell what he's doing well, what he's not, how many greens he's hitting, what irons he hits best, what distances he's best from, what he's worst from, where his misses are. Every single shot is documented in this spreadsheet, which is a little bit different. And he putts with the flag stick in, which drives me absolutely insane. Why? It just, I don't know. I hate putting with the flag stick in personally. I don't like watching it on TV. You're hitting a 4-foot putt and you got the flag stick in. It's bizarre. Everything he does is a little off, but what a great story for a guy who won the USAM in 2013, came back in 2022 for the U.S. Open, stayed at the same house with the same family in the same bedroom. He actually took pictures today with the USAM trophy on the bedside, and then the U.S. Open trophy on the bedside. But he gets it done on that same golf cart. It's just incredible. Yeah,
it makes it that old saying, different ways to skin a cat, man. Yep. I think that's the different way he went about it. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, but anytime you go and win a tournament like that, it's definitely impressive. And like you said, you look at that field and some of those guys that were in contention on Sunday. That's definitely, it's definitely impressive to pull that feat off for sure.
And that was great for golf. What happens over the next 72 hours probably not going to be super great for golf fans. It sounds like LIV is going to take a few more bites out of the apple here. The names that are swirling around, Brooks Koepka is getting a lot of, and then based on his answers yet last week where he was ticked off, they were even at, I hadn't even given any thought. I mean, I'm trying to get ready for the U.S. Open. I hadn't given any thought. It's just ridiculous. I think he will go. It sounds like there's potential that Collin Morikawa may go, Xander Schauffele. And at that point, if those guys go and start missing tour events with regularity and aren't allowed back on the tour, you've split the sport in half. And it's just not good. I mean, I'm all for people making money. That's their decision. They can do it, and that's fine. I'm a golf fan. I like watching the best players in the world, and you're going to split them in half because you're going to have the Rorys and Rahms and Spieths and Justin Thomases that are going to defend the honor of the tour, and then you're going to have guys who are going to go over there to play 54-hole shotgun start events with made-up teams because they're going to get ridiculous amounts of money, and it's their right, and they've earned it with their talent, but it's going to be really, really bad for golf.
Yeah, it's going to get tough, and I think for LIV, if they can somehow find a way to get on TV here, then it's going to put a world of pressure on the PGA to do something about it. Really, their hands are tied, especially with the way compensation's set up right now. So I don't see LIV going anywhere. It's just got to continue to take away from what the PGA is trying to do until, like you said, you got two watered-down products, a product no one really cares about, and then another product where there's no real competition. So you're winning a bunch of tournaments and majors with, not going against some of the best fields you've ever seen. So it's not good for golf, man. I know that. And if you look at it in totality, for sure.
Makes me a sad guy. But look, money talks. And that was my right out of the chute when I saw it. I said, well, if they don't want this to go away, it will never go away because they don't have to quit because of money. XFL, USFL, they all fail because they run out of money. This will never run out of money because they make over $1 billion a day with the price of gas, and they can just divvy it up any way they want. Every time I see Fire's going in the Bayou 4 chat, competition is never bad, Hunt. I disagree. If you split the fields in half, that's bad. Like, that is bad. If you've got Dustin Johnson, Collin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Taylor Gooch, Sergio Garcia, and Bryson DeChambeau on one half, and Spieth, Rahm, JT, Rory on one half, and they're not playing against each other, that's bad. Like, it's just, that's not good. If you took the AFC and played one thing and the NFC and played one thing and played two Super Bowls, that would not be as good. Like, it's just the way that it is. So it bums me out as a golf fan. But look, again, I'm not the guy who's banging the drum saying that these guys are taking murderers' money and all that kind of, like, everyone takes Saudi Arabia stuff, everyone takes China stuff. It's just part of the world. It's just the way it goes. Their human rights record's awful, but that's not the point for me. The point in this is just the golf, and it's being compromised. So that's not good in my estimation. All right, we'll take a timeout. Come back. College World Series update. Big game tonight between two SEC teams, and Auburn playing for their lives right now. We'll get you updated on that score and a preview of tonight's game next on Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Reliable Roofing, reliableroofing.br.com. Check out their work on Instagram at Reliable Roofing LLC. When you get a new roof, you deserve the highest quality shingle. You deserve to have a 5-year labor warranty. You deserve to have the owner, Lionel Hayes, come out, which he will do. All that is promised with Reliable Roofing.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Reliable Roofing, a family-run, owned, and operated residential roofing company. They've been in business since 2008 with over 30 years of roofing experience.
Reliable Roofing, a great partner here, and they are a great partner with our community, and they want to help out. If you're a senior citizen or if you are a teacher, 10% off of your roofing needs when you use Reliable Roofing. Give them a look online, reliableroofingbr.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
For a Monday edition of Early Line, as we recap the sports weekend, including the first couple of days from the College World Series out in Omaha, and we look ahead to the rest of the week. Join us 2 to 3 p.m. Early Line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Stanford strikes first, 1-0 Cardinal as they battle Auburn in an elimination game up in Omaha, Nebraska. Eventful weekend up there at the College World Series. Of course, these two teams lost their first game. Arkansas absolutely embarrassed Stanford. Just a blowout from start to finish. In that ball game on Saturday, 17-2 the final. Arkansas got 21 hits in that ball game, and Ole Miss took control, beating Auburn. Dylan DeLucia was sensational in that game, as he has been really for the better portion of a month. He goes 7 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. He struck out 10 and didn't walk anybody, and Ole Miss was able to get through with just DeLucia. and Mallets. So their bullpen is ready to rock in the game tonight against the Arkansas Razorbacks. And I think Ole Miss has the pitching advantage as well. I was really surprised to see that Arkansas is going to Zach Morris in this game to start. We know that Hunter Elliott, who's been awesome for Ole Miss, will start for the Revs tonight. But Zach Morris has been kind of a bullpen guy for this team. Well, not kind of. He has been a bullpen guy. He's only started one game all year. His most for innings this year has been 3, I believe. Maybe he went 3 1/3 at Oklahoma State is the most he has thrown all year. So I guess Dave Van Horn just trying to get off to a good start. But as I've been saying since this thing started, I got a feeling about Ole Miss, and I think they're going to win this game tonight and get into the driver's seat.
Yeah, and I think to me the thing about Ole Miss, their pitching has really, really been night and day from the way they were pitching in the middle of the season to end the season. They found guys that they can really depend on, and if you're getting that type of production from DeLucia, they're going to be a really, really tough team to stop, especially when you look at some of the bats they have in that lineup, especially at the top of the order. So, yeah, we've talked about it. The last team you want to be playing is a hot baseball team going in Omaha. That's exactly what Ole Miss is right now.
Who are you pulling for tonight, Ole Miss, Arkansas?
Neither one. If they can just go into an 18-inning, super long, extra-inning game and they just get tired and postpone it, that'd be great. But if I had to pick, I guess I got to ride with Bianco and the crew, man. I guess I have to.
Look, the winner tonight in the driver's seat of that regional, the loser will get the winner of this game between Stanford and Auburn. Auburn is basically out of pitching. Trace Bright's going to go today. They just don't have a ton after that, and they were just not really a threat in my mind to go to Omaha and win. On the other side of things, Oklahoma is in the driver's seat. They beat Notre Dame last night 6-2. Texas A&M eliminated Texas 10-2, a blowout. The Horns, number 1 in the country early in the season, get up to Omaha. It's 2-Q. They are the first team headed back. But you think A&M found something with that 10-run outing, or you think that their life is short-lived up there?
Well, I sure hope not. I hope they haven't found anything. But, yeah, I think that's what we've kind of seen from Texas. Just not the level of pitching that you need to have to go, especially, have a deep run into Omaha and A&M. They play big when they had to, not the best out in the start, but they beat that Texas team when they need to. I just hope that fire burns out pretty quickly here in Omaha.
Oklahoma took care of Notre Dame, as I mentioned, and they now sit in a position where they can hold Jake Bennett because somebody's got to come beat them twice. So A&M will play Notre Dame tomorrow, and the winner will have to beat Oklahoma twice. My assumption will be that Oklahoma will not throw Bennett in that game. They will hold him to either play in a bracket final after they've lost a game or for game 1 of the championship series. So that's the position that you want to be in. You have an All-American that you can hold and don't have to use. The other two teams have got to do everything that they can do. A&M's just going to have to hope that they can hit their way through this bracket. We felt that way with LSU, really. However far they were going to go, they were going to have to hit their way through it. They were able to do it against Texas, but we'll see if they can do it against better pitching for Notre Dame and Oklahoma. Oklahoma is in the driver's seat here. As far as Arkansas and Ole Miss goes, that's what they're fighting for tonight. If one of those teams wins, they will be able to hold Nolan or DeLucia for a game down the road. And that's why it's just so difficult to win this thing if you don't win the first two. So, we knew this was almost inevitable. When Stanford lost, it was inevitable that one of the SEC teams would be in the driver's seat. Thankfully, A&M lost their first game. But here comes trouble tonight. We'll see who it's going to be. Who do you think will win the game? Not who you're pulling for. Who do you think will win tonight between Ole Miss and Arkansas?
I think Arkansas is going to win this, man. Those bats are hot right now, and I don't know if I love what's on the mound for Ole Miss tonight. So yeah, I got to go with Arkansas.
Look, Elliott has been brilliant. He shut Miami out for 6 innings. He shut Southern Miss out for Ole Miss because they didn't score for 2 days. He shut them out over 7 innings. He's kind of found it from the left side. Arkansas has got a lot of bats, but they don't have the pitching. They've got the bullpen, but it's just a matter of can they hold Ole Miss's offense down. You've got Elko swinging the bat, got Graham swinging the bat. It's Jacob Gonzalez, the shortstop spot. Like they're really good. I just feel like there's some sort of magic going on with that team right now. And you could have said, "Oh, look, Stony Brook, they went up there and got killed 2 games." And yeah, I get that. Kent State, same thing. They didn't win a game when they got there. But Fresno State got all the way and found a way to win it. Coastal found a way to go all the way and win it. And those two teams were not even close to the talent level that Ole Miss is bringing to the ballpark night in and night out. That Ole Miss is a program played so tight for so many years, especially in super regionals. This team doesn't seem to have any of that. They just seem so loose, so free, so relaxed. I mean, I'm sure you've played for teams that were like that. Yeah. They just kind of were comfortable with who they were, and you just kind of get rolling.
Yeah, no, it's momentum is such a real thing, especially in sports, especially in team sports, because you got a group of guys believing the same thing. You're on the same accord. I mean, we've seen this LSU baseball team go on some huge innings where, and even with 2 outs, and it's just because everyone believes. And I think that's exactly where this Ole Miss baseball team is right now. But I just think the way Arkansas is swinging the bat right now, they're going to be a tough out. So I got to take Arkansas on that one.
I mean, everybody's going to laugh at Arkansas's pitcher when they tune in and see that his name's Zach Morris. I mean, how do you get around? It's just Saved by the Bells. It is what it is. AC Slater, Zach Morris and company for Arkansas tonight. That game is, I believe, at 6. Let me check that schedule. Monday's schedule for the College World Series. It is at 6 o'clock on ESPN. I'll be locked in, and I think Ole Miss wins it. I think they're gonna finish this thing off. I really do. It's pains me to say it, but there's so many SEC West teams up there. It's a disaster. So it's like I said, when you got to Omaha, it's like walking on landmines. You're trying to get Stanford through, trying to get Oklahoma through. It's just Notre Dame would be fine with me. Just not working out. But when you got 3 SEC teams on one side of the bracket, you're very likely looking at an SEC team showing up in the final, and that's kind of the way it looks like it's going. But we'll keep you posted, keep telling the story of what goes on up there in Omaha, Nebraska. Let's take another time out. We'll come back, take it or leave it, and that'll do it for a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They are here to elevate and celebrate some great things going on in our state. And this month, we're telling you about Four Sisters Rice.
Yeah, so happy to tell you guys about Four Sisters Rice. Four Sisters Rice is taking a little grain and making a big difference in the world. They're located in Mer Rouge, Louisiana. This family-owned rice company has been an economic driver in their region since their father founded the Kennedy Rice Mill. The Four Sisters launched a company to provide good food to families across Louisiana and beyond. Food is more than what you put on the plate. It nourishes your soul. Four Sisters promotes sustainable agriculture, which creates a superior product while supporting Louisiana's land and environment.
The line I keep going back to for this read is that Louisiana should be admired as much as it is loved. And there's a lot of issue that it's not at times. It's kind of a punching bag. But LWCC is elevating and celebrating, like I said, the great things that are going on in our state. If you know someone, some business, some nonprofit doing great things in our great state, nominate them to be a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story here on Hunt and Hill. To do that, go to lwcc.com/Louisiana Loyal. LWCC is Louisiana Loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt and Hill, The Early Line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Monday's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. LSU baseball looking to replace 2 assistant coaches. We'll have the latest. Join us for Monday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's like Stanford has added to their lead, and they did rule that a fair ball. It was really, really close, but it was a double down the line. Scored a run, so Stanford 2, Auburn nothing in an elimination game up there at Charles Schwab Field, the College World Series. Citizens Bank brings you the poll question every day here on Hunt and Hill. Today's poll question of the day: are you concerned with LSU's 2022 recruiting class? 28% of you say yes, concerned. That leaves 72% of you to say, not really, not too concerned about it. So that's probably more indifferent than I would have thought. Usually people love to throw fits about recruiting. It doesn't appear that is the point of the calendar that we are in right about now. Let's do some take it or leave it and get on down the road. Mr. Hill, fire away.
Alrighty, here. ESPN writer Heather Dinich wrote an article on how the NCAA intends to put restrictions on the transfer portal by adding transfer windows. As of now, the only requirement is players notify schools on May 1st of the academic year. Are you taking or leaving? The NCAA should put more windows when players can transfer.
I'll take it. I mean, I think anything to rein this in is probably a good thing. It's just brutal on everybody to have to babysit your entire team every second of every day. And one issue that they have, they're gonna bail. Transferring is a good thing for a lot of people, and it should certainly be allowed. But just a free for all, I think, is not great. I think to put things into quote unquote windows would be good. It would allow people to focus a little more on that at a certain point of the year, and not every second of every day, which is a little bit much to ask in my estimation. Cal football recruit Ashton Sanders paid full homage to Marshawn Lynch during a recruiting visit by taking a golf cart on the field in full uniform. Good idea to allow recruits in golf carts on the field. Take it or leave it.
I guess I have to take it, man.
I'll take it.
If you guys are going to go on a Cal visit, you got to reenact the Marshawn Lynch fiasco. I think we all remember that. Him just
one of the great footages of all time.
Yeah, so you're letting the recruits jump in on the fun. I guess they're signing a waiver. I mean, I would hope so. They're signing something, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to party on their parade, man. They're having a good time out there. So let the recruits drive the carts.
If you haven't seen Marshawn Lynch on the golf cart, just go check it out. It's worth your time.
All right, here. Coach K, he tells John Rothstein that he doesn't expect to attend any Duke games this upcoming season. Coach K, staying away from Coach K court. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving this. I think he still has an office there. I mean, you got to be kidding me. He's going to live in Durham and during basketball season, he's not going to poke his head in to watch a game? He's not going to go to all of them, and you can get some sleep. And he asked him, Coach K, what are you going to do when he's retired? He said, probably drink a lot of wine. Well, you can drink a lot of wine at the game if you want. It's like Skip going on the baseball games. Like, he's got his own parking spot. You got a statue out there. Just cruise on in. There's Krzyzewskiville right outside Cameron. Coach K court. There's no way he doesn't go to a single Duke game this year. Like, come on.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe. I guess when you're that guy, I mean, I guess you can imagine the TV time he's going to get the second he sets foot in that arena. Maybe he doesn't want to be a distraction, especially this early on. I guess he's been in that building a lot of games, a lot of nights, a lot of hours. I don't know. I find it hard to believe. At least maybe a senior night, something for the people. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Speaking of bucket lists, we did that with Omaha at the top of this hour. Like, Cameron's a bucket lister for me. It's just it's so small. If you ever look for like tickets there on any of the ticket apps, like secondhand stuff, there's so few tickets available because it's such a small place that they're just astronomically high for just random games. But I would really like to go to Cameron. My dad went when LSU played up there, when Shaq played Christian Laettner, and I think Duke beat us pretty good, if memory serves. Maybe Laettner hit a couple threes late. I think Duke got after us pretty good in that game. But I would love to go to Cameron. I think from the outside, it looks kind of like Allen Hall on campus. Like, it's very unassuming. It doesn't look like a basketball arena. It's just a big building on campus, and all of a sudden you go in there. Here we are, Cameron. So that's a bucket lister for me. Coach K is going to a game this year. I don't want to hear that garbage. Shams Charania of The Athletic wrote an article on the Nets' relationship with Kyrie and says it's at an impasse with the Lakers and Clippers being real contenders to land the All-Star guard. Kyrie to the Lakers. Take it or leave it.
I'm leaving that. I don't think there's a world where that can happen. Too many. Look, that salary cap is too close to the edge. Unless the Nets would just take a Russell and you want to reunite KD and Russ, which I think is never happening on this planet. So, no, Kyrie not to the Lakers. I don't think he's on the trade block at all. I just think, a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation. But, no, we could get him. Yeah, I would love that. But I just don't think it's happening. No way, Jose.
I realize this is a ludicrous line of thinking. I'm aware of it. I know it. But I can't help myself. Has anyone ever sat Kyrie Irving down and said, it doesn't have to be this hard? You don't have to clash with everyone all the time. You don't have to always demand a trade. You don't have to always create the headline. You could just, chill out. Has anyone ever tried this?
I don't think so, man. I think he's one of those more, if you look up Mercurial, you'll find a picture of Mr. Irvin right there, because you never know what guy you're going to get in the building. I remember when the rumors first came out when he was on the Celtics, and he's like, the guy can't have a bad day. It's like, Kyrie, you seem to always have a bad day.
Bad day everywhere you go all the time. You're really good.
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing. I mean, you watch him dribble the basketball and what he can do on the court, and it makes you see why he gets that extra leash. But there's always something going on. So, I mean, to me, you get KD to join Brooklyn, your hometown favorite team, and it just seems like things have not gone right ever since, KD stepped foot in town. So, I don't know what's going on up there, but it's always something with Mr. Irvin. Always something.
I can't get on. Just calm down. Laugh a little, and don't always have to rock the boat 24/7 with every person you come in contact with.
Yeah, no, it's a different level, man. I mean, to me, I would be exhausted by that point. I couldn't, imagine walking this building every day with a bone to pick with somebody and, making sure I go pick up that bone. It's just, it's tough, and it makes it really hard to win, which kind of lets you see, man. The Celtics were A-OK when he left town. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the Cavs, but, yeah.
Wasn't he stirring the pot on Twitter today?
Yeah, it's always something. Well, yeah, he's tweeted out a GIF, I think, because of this article. I don't know, man. It's always something.
Who do you think he's going to play for next year?
I think he'll play for the Nets, man. I think, first of all, his cap's going to be ridiculous. So whoever does take him, they're going to have to, break the Brinks truck out, which a guy like that who you don't have any type of certainty with going forward, it's going to be tough. So I think the Nets have to run it back. He has to run it back with the Nets.
Got some cool stuff coming up this week. Of course, the NBA draft is this week. Going to try to get a draft expert and somebody from down there with the Pelicans. Probably going to get Sharif to come on. So excited about that. Stephon LaForce is the head coach over at Parkview. And he obviously played here in Baton Rouge and was a star at Louisville. I want to talk with him on Thursday about some 7-on-7 stuff and how that's changed the game. I mean, it's different now than it was when you played. This whole year-round thing.
Yeah, it's night and day now. I think there's way more teams, there's way more opportunities, and obviously with social media around now, it's like you can get a lot more exposure with a lot of these camps now. So when I was playing, there was no way. There's probably like 3 or 4 teams in Baton Rouge. So just night and day from what's going on right now.
We'll talk about College World Series for sure over the next few days and the next week, which we're excited to do as well. Going to go up to Omaha and grab a guest from Omaha to talk about all the goings on up there. And one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and now I'm blanking on it, which is always great radio. You love to just have a train of thought, and then it just rolls straight off the rails. We do have a lot of cool stuff coming up this week. I want to talk about LSU's assistant coaches in baseball. They got to fill 2 spots, as well as what the signing class is going to do. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll start to get some signees on and kind of get their thoughts. Gavin Guidry went on with Matt last week, and I thought it was really, really good. That's a guy that I think LSU is going to get to campus. But never know until that draft is over and then the signing deadline passes. Now, thankfully, the signing deadline is closer to the draft than it was. You used to have the draft in June, and then by the end of July was your signing day. And so you had a lot of time. Now they've kind of tightened that up a little bit. But as you heard from Jay Johnson, he's not thrilled with the new calendar. So that was a surprise for me to hear. We had some Jay Johnson sound in the beginning of hour number 1. Glenn West came on right after that and gave his thoughts on LSU baseball. We talked football recruiting at 12:30, and I gave our guesses for SEC Media Days at the end of hour number 1. Hour number 2, lead toss, Jeremy talking a little Omaha, Nebraska. We talked about the U.S. Open as well as the College World Series. So if you missed any of that, as I always tell you, you can go to Spotify. You can go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. You can go to YouTube. There are so many ways you can find this show. We appreciate you seeking it out any way you can. And when you do, throw us a like, subscribe, review positively, and rate. And we would certainly appreciate any and all of that. So that's going to just about do it for us here on a Monday edition of Hunt and Hill. We're off and running here on the work week. Hope your Monday is going just swimmingly here after a Father's Day, which was a lot of fun yesterday. Matt Viscona will drive you home from 3 to 6 on After Further Review. Jimmy Ott's Game Time, 6 to 8 here on 104.5 ESPN. Mario and Musso coming up with your early line. They'll be talking a little college baseball, I am sure. We're back tomorrow. Have a great Monday evening, everybody. It's Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.